Oh, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Welcome to another episode of Bassing with Captain Lou. Guys, I know it's been a minute. My apologies. Stuff happens. But nonetheless, today's video is going to be all about the peacocks, techniques, the lures I use, how I set up for them, and breaking down today's outing. Each outing, as you guys know as fishermen, is a little different. But today I'm going to go ahead and break down and show you guys how I'm approaching them and all that good stuff. So stick around. I think it's going to be a pretty fun video. A bunch of these are around right now. There was a trailer behind this one. I got to see the wake behind it. So there's a whole mess of these little guys. They make it fun, but again, I'm targeting some bigger fish. So when it comes to peacocks, you can use an assortment of lures. In this particular case, I started with a jerkbait, one of the most popular lures that you could target peas with. I've already caught 4 right off the bat because I wanted to test something in regards to the area that I'm fishing. And just because we have high water doesn't necessarily mean we don't have peacocks out here. Our peacock population is very healthy in these canals. You just have to find the right conditions. And in this case, I am looking at areas that have current. I know the water's coming in from the north, but I'm looking for current or water that's spilling into the canal. And in those transition areas, the peacocks are stacked pretty well. And the beauty about the Everglades is that we have many of these areas around us. So stick around. I've already started with the jerkbait, and I've caught some 4 little guys. So let's see if I can get some bigger ones. The pretty one. This is a nice pretty one right here. This is a nice one. Nice fish. So as you guys are seeing, it's just about a peacock for every cast. Like I'm telling you guys, once you find the right location, you guys could have a field day. I'm gonna be parked here for quite some time. And like, again, I started with a jerkbait. And as you guys could see, I work it a little erratically. I will like snap it twice and pause. Sometimes the peacock bass are annihilating it on the movement, or sometimes they're grabbing it on the pause. But nonetheless, don't be afraid to work your lures a little aggressively when targeting peacock. Similar to their big brothers in the Amazon, if you guys watch those videos, those guys are really working those baits really aggressively to get those nice strikes. And the same thing applies to our South Florida peacocks as well. So again, so far the jerkbait, and in a little while I'll switch it up to see if they're willing to hit something else. The next lure that I enjoy throwing are the prop baits. There's so many prop baits out there right now that you really can't go wrong with them. But like any type of lure, you may want to manipulate the sizes to see what gets the better strikes. But I love the prop baits. If you're looking for a great topwater explosion, the prop baits are going to elicit that for you. In this particular case, I'm working it a little bit on the aggressive side, and they're blowing up on it on the pause.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, that's a nice one.
Like I said, sometimes the prop bait gets you some nice ones. Look at this beauty right here. Crush the prop bait. That was cool. Another lure or bait that I love throwing is the hair jig. As you guys can see, I quickly caught two, again, smaller peacocks, but right away I caught two by throwing the hair jig. And I like throwing the hair jig to mix things up because the hair jig is a much quieter and subtle approach. It's like the finesse of peacock bass fishing versus the jerkbait. Because of its rattles, if you have a rattle type, or because of its erratic stuff. If you've been catching a lot of peacocks and the bite seems to slow down a little bit because they're onto you, I'll switch over to a hair jig, and so far it's working. As you guys can see, I let the jig do the work. I like it once it hits the water. Once it begins to breathe, all of a sudden the peacocks just slam it. The way I like to work the hair jig is I like to give the jig an opportunity once it hits the water. Once the actual hairs begin to breathe, you'll get a lot of the hits that way. And then after that, it depends. I'll work it quickly, I will work it slowly, I will yo-yo it. I will let them dictate to me what they want with the hair jig on that particular day, or in this particular day rather. So stick around and let me see if I can catch a few more. There he is. That little guy got off, but as you guys could see, as soon as the hair jig touched the water, he went ahead and hit it. Because again, as soon as it hits the water, the hairs open up and it breathes. That's a nice one right here. Swallowed that hair jig. A nice one. So I started moving around just to experiment in different areas, and I found an interesting spot. And the peacock are right over my shoulder, right over here. They're stacked up pretty well. Some decent ones too, but they're very skittish. So I have to be very careful that I don't make any quick movements. But there's like a little outflow, a little current coming out of the marsh, and they're just stacked up waiting for things to get caught in that little current for them to catch it. So there's a whole school of peacock, about 15 of them right over my shoulder. If I move, they're all gonna scatter, but that's how crazy it is right now. There he is. This is a little guy. This is a little guy, but there's a whole bunch of them behind me. They have since scattered, but they're down below. They're down deep. Granted, this is only about 4 feet, but they're all hugging the bottom. a nice one right here. Smoke the jerkbait. There he is. So as you guys can see, the jerkbait is working. The jerkbait is working pretty well. I'm just changing colors and sizes. Unfortunately, I had the camera turned when I caught this guy. This one is part of that wolf pack I was telling you guys about. This is the medium one. There's a bigger one. There's two bigger ones in this group that I'm trying to coax and catch. All right, gang, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It is hot. As you guys can see, I know it's November for us, but it's hot right now. But nonetheless, I had an unbelievable outing. I caught over 61 on the counter. That's touched 61 peacocks. 0 bass today. Very weird, but 0 bass. As you guys are going to see in the video, the jerkbait did very well, and you guys saw how I worked that particular lure. I worked it very quickly, erratically. I did some pauses. They would hit on the jerk, they would hit on the pause, but nonetheless, I kept working the lure until I found out the cadence and rhythm that they wanted. The next thing that I caught was some nice fish off was the prop bait. Not a lot of fish on the prop bait today, but the ones I did caught, or I'm sorry, the ones that I did catch on the prop bait were pretty good, and the explosions and the blow-ups were pretty nice. I also was using the hair jig. I caught quite a few on the hair jig today as well. Hopefully you guys picked up some tips on that. The popper didn't do that good. Usually the popper does very, very well, but it didn't do that well today. And the spook style bait, I had a couple of blow-ups, but they just wouldn't connect to it. So the winner for today's outing was the jerkbait. So again, hopefully you guys learned a few things, and you guys know the drill. Like the video, share the video, become part of this community. We are growing. We're over 330 subscribers so far. That's pretty cool. Of course, we would love more, but nonetheless, I appreciate you guys for watching. Again, I apologize for not putting some content out in October, but life happens, and I'm looking to do maybe a few more videos before the year's end. So again, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.